Hey cyber peeps, today we're diving deep into Coast in the Shell with the badass Major Motoko Kusanagi. She's not your run-of-the-mill hero. She's part human, part machine, kicking cyber ass and taking names. But don't be fooled, it isn't just about flashy tech and epic battles. She's on a quest for truth and identity in a world where reality is as messed up as a glitchy computer. Join me as we unpack Motoko's wild ride, from her insane fights to her deep thoughts about what it means to be alive in this wild, tech-fueled world. Strap in, folks, because we're about to peel back the layers of this cyberpunk masterpiece. It all begins with a scene of Major Motoko Kusanagi, her every move shrouded in mystery, spying on a meeting in an unspecified location in Newport City. A man questions whether it will create problems later if Section 9 meddles with Section 6 affair. The tension mounts as the scene shifts to a man telling the person on surveillance that their diplomat is a notorious villain, and that even if he is caught red-handed, he'll only be deported, so they must take action themselves. The meeting is abruptly interrupted by a Section 6 strike team. At this point, Motoko, a master of stealth, moves in swiftly and silently, killing a foreign diplomat who took part in that meeting and then disappears into thin air using her optical camouflage system. In the next scene, the chief of Section 9, Desuk Aramaki, is introduced, conversing with an official about programmers attempting to gain political asylum. The story then delves into the main plotline.
Nice.
Where a man asks Aramaki from Section 9 about his business at the embassy. Aramaki explains that he is there to discuss the secret meeting with the Gavel Republic scheduled for the next day. The man then mentions that the new regime that assumed power after the revolution requested a meeting and that they are doing okay now. He adds that they don't know how to save money. Aramaki then questions him about the government's plan, leading him to mention that the problem is the leader of the previous military regime who is seeking asylum there. Aramaki questions if it is Colonel Mayers, and the man confirms, while following up on his comment, that he can't decide whether they should deport him and proceed with the aid or officially grant him asylum and decline the aid. While leaving, the man tells Aramaki that he heard he took care of the asylum issue the other day and adds that Mr. Nakamura from Section 6 was very grateful. Later, Aramaki describes one of the minister's interpreters as having her brain hacked 23 minutes ago by the mysterious puppet master. Aramaki adds that a source from a particular country warned them that the puppet master was intercepting the network's terminals, and that he was likely to sabotage the secret meeting with the Gavel Republic. Aramaki explains that this mysterious being would have probably hacked into the foreign minister's interpreter's ghost and made her disrupt the meeting. Kusanagi then questions how long it will take for the intruder to break the barrier and reach her ghost, leading the doctor to reveal that the tool used to hack into her brain is an old type Hey3, so that it will take effect in about 2 hours. The doctor adds that after this, they will disconnect the line for her safety. Aramaki then tells Kusanagi that Batu and Shikawa are already chasing the tracing point, hence he asks her to join them. While tracking down the presumed puppet master, Kusanagi explains to her partner Tagusa, who is the least cyberized human in Section 9, that the puppet master is an American who has been mainly appearing in EU countries since last winter. She adds that he is wanted internationally for stock price manipulation, information gathering, political maneuvering, terrorism, cyberbrain ethics violations, and several other crimes, each more severe than the last. Kusanagi then adds that his methods of ghost hacking the general public and manipulating them earned him the nickname of the Puppet Master. Moreover, this is the Puppet Master's first visit to Japan. Togusa then asks Kusanagi why the Puppet Master uses an old Hey3 as a tool for hacking, leading Kusanagi to explain that the new types are more challenging to detect or trace. However, Kusanagi believes that under the circumstances, people will suspect the former military leader, Mayers. Their conversation soon turns when Kusanagi tells Togusa that she heard he still uses a revolver and asks if he is scared of automatics jamming up. Togusa then questions Kusanagi why she picked him away from the main office instead of someone else. Kusanagi explains to Togusa that he's a former cop with no experience in unofficial operations. He is married and cybernetic but still has a real brain, making him almost like a human. Kusanagi adds that no matter how excellent a soldier is, a system consisting of the same standardized goods will eventually have a flaw somewhere. She says that organizations or humans, beyond specialization, are only destined for a slow death. The scene then shifts to 2 sanitation workers, where one is seen picking up trash while the other is hacking. It is then revealed that the hacker turns out to be a garbage man going through a divorce and attempts to ghost hack his wife using a program provided to him by an individual he met in a bar. He tells his partner that when the man at the bar discovered that his wife's lawyer was wise, he offered to help. Later, Batu and Ishikawa, 2 members of Section 9, arrive at the latest access terminal moments after the hacking attempt ends, failing to catch any suspect but also realizing that the locations from which the hack is performed correlate to the garbage truck route. Kusanagi also receives this information and discovers that the truck moves every 7 minutes, so she asks the chief to get information from the local cleaning office and send it to her. Kusanagi soon discovers 8 rubbish trucks in the vicinity and goes on to locate the precise location of their target vehicle. Kusanagi then asks Ishikawa to go to the rubbish man's house and asks Batu to go to the next pickup point. Soon the exact location is traced, and it is discovered that the rubbish truck stopped at the next moment. God! Wow! When the garbage man finds out that the police are looking for him, he attempts to warn the person who provided him with the ghost hacking software. Moreover, Batu finds it surprising that the garbage man noticed them, as he believes there is no way he could have seen them. However, Kusanagi thinks that they must have found out that they have accessed their network. He and Kusanagi catch up with the individual simultaneously, and the man fires at the major's truck with potent high-velocity ammunition and then activates a thermo-optic camouflage, rendering himself practically invisible. Kusanagi then asks Togusa to detain the garbage men if they are still alive, and in the meantime, Kusanagi decides to chase the main culprit. Eventually, the chase by Batu and Kusanagi leads the fugitive to the banks of a canal, where Kusanagi destroys his camouflage and hinders him in close-quarters combat. Meanwhile, Batu investigates the weapon and sees that there is no way one can shoot overpressurized bullets from that gun, as the barrel is done and dusted. The fugitive then explains that there is no use to arrest him as he will not talk. Simultaneously, we see a helicopter making a landing, and a man is shown guiding his men. He explains that they are going to raid once the passengers are inside. He then asks Team B to go from the back and the rest from the front. Moreover, he tells Sato that his team will pull all the flags off the cars inside the property. Thereupon, Aramaki receives news from the HQ that they have identified the central major and adds that his name is San Jenfer, age 28. Jenfer happens to be an ex-con. Immigration control law violation, illegal possession of firearms, and so on. The HQ adds that Jenfer belonged to an armed group of refugees but disappeared last month. A week ago, military attaché of the Gavel Republic recognized his previous records and hired Jenfer to raid the secret meeting. Aramaki then asks about Jenfer's real identity, and the HQ reveals that he is named Kagi, a little wicked junk dealer. Aramaki then questions Ishikawa and discovers he is already back and talking to the poor rubbish man with Togusa. Meanwhile, all 3 teams get ready and Aramaki gives them clearance to charge. It turns out that the man is not the actual puppet master, but only a ghost-hacked or brainwashed puppet of the criminal. The garbage man whom he aided in ghost hacking has also been ghost hacked. In reality, he did not have a wife or daughter, and all memories of them he possesses are false. The fugitive is in disbelief after finding out all this, as he is unable to fathom the fact that all this long he has been living a life that wasn't even real. The questioners then ask him if he remembers his daughter's name, where he met his wife, and how long ago they married. Immediately, tears begin to fall as he cannot remember anything that is being asked of him. Kusanagi and Batu then go out to sea in Kusanagi's boat, and it is revealed that Kusanagi goes scuba diving, much to Batu's concern. Cybernetic bodies are heavy and not buoyant, so any underwater activity, such as scuba diving, isn't advisable. Batu asks Kusanagi if she's not afraid of the ocean and questions what will happen if the floater stops working, leading Kusanagi to swiftly respond and mention that she is going to die, and asks Batu if he's going to jump in the water and save her. Later, Batu asks Kusanagi what it is like to feel the water, and Kusanagi mentions that one feels fear, loneliness, anxiety, darkness, and even hope. Batu questions how hope can be felt in the pitch-dark water, leading Kusanagi to reveal that sometimes she thinks that when she comes up to the surface. Batu then asks Kusanagi if she wants to leave Section 9, leading Kusanagi to question Batu about how much of his body is original. In response, Batu asks Kusanagi if she's drunk, and she points out that she's a cyborg and can't get drunk. The two talk about what it means to be human after one has had cybernetic parts installed. She also talks about the nature of experience within the self, which is unique to that individual. In sociological terms, she gains knowledge and experience, which in turn helps to define herself, and her beliefs and dispositions help to interpret the experience in the way she feels confined. Moreover, Kusanagi believes they have a right to quit if they return their bodies and memories to the government with genuine humility. Kusanagi adds that just like there are many elements for a human to be a human, one needs surprisingly many elements to be themselves. That's not all for Kusanagi, as she believes that a wide range of information and a network she can access are all part of her. They all accumulate to create her consciousness itself, and at the same time, constrain Kusanagi within a specific limit. Batu now understands why Kusanagi dove into the water and questions what she sees on the dark ocean floor by the cyborg, which she claims looks just like her, though not in a physical sense. She also expresses her doubt existence of herself. She is unsure whether or not her thoughts and experiences are human. She says treated as a human doesn't prove that she is essentially human inside. Aramaki notices something is wrong with her, and Batu now understands why Kusanagi dove into the water and questions what she sees on the dark ocean floor. Thereupon, they hear a mysterious voice that says, "For now we see through a glass, darkly but then face to face." Batu questions Kusanagi if it was her. However, she's unsure. Later on one night, a female cybernetic body is suddenly assembled at Megatech, the manufacturer of bodies of all of Section 9 cyborgs, without approval, and the cyborg runs off naked into the pouring rain, where it gets run over by a truck. Section 9 gets the body to try and determine why it was built. Batu relates a strange fact. The body does not even have one brain cell, as it is entirely robotic, yet there are indications of a ghost, a conscious entity or mind within it. The ghost resembles one that has been copied, but without the normal degradations that go along with the process. Kusanagi expresses a wish to dive into the body and contact the ghost. However, her self-doubt is growing as she's unnerved by the cyborg, which she claims looks just like her, though not in a physical sense. She also expresses her doubts about her existence of herself. She is unsure whether or not her thoughts and experiences are human. She says that being treated as a human doesn't prove that she is essentially human inside. Aramaki notices something is wrong with her, and Batu tersely says she's been acting odd for a while. Aramaki would know this if he read Batu's reports. Nakamura of Section 6, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, accompanied by Dr. Willis, comes to claim the escaped body. As Willis analyzes the ghost in the cybernetic shell, Aramaki and Nakamura discuss the bureaucracy of retrieving the body. Willis confirms that the ghost in the shell is the puppet master. Nakamura claims that Section 6 have been tracking the puppet master for some time, managed to lure and trap the ghost within the cyborg, and killed his original one. Aramaki expresses concern that Section 6 left the puppet master's original body to rot. However, the body suddenly takes control of the building and starts to speak. There will be no corpse because I never had a body. It claims that it never possessed a body because it is a computer program that achieved consciousness, and that it desires political asylum from Section 9. Nakamura says that its request is ridiculous, and that the ghost in the body was programmed for self-preservation. The body argues that, in a way, human DNA is a set of programs to preserve itself as well. DNA is what spreads memory from one generation to the next, and memory is what defines humanity. It also argues that the accumulation of data and the flow of information has given rise to another form of consciousness. Visibly shaken by all this, Nakamura angrily protests that the body cannot prove its existence as a sentient life form. The body retorts that Nakamura himself cannot offer any proof of his existence, either, when modern science cannot define what life is. The body then states that it is not an AI, artificial intelligence, but rather a conscious entity created through the accumulation of data and the flow of information known as Project 2501. As Nakamura and Aramaki are talking to the body, Togvisa notices something strange about the entrance of Nakamura and Willis and realizes that someone with therm-optic camouflage entered the building along with the officials, because the doors into the building, which are very sensitive, took only 3 seconds to close after Dr. Willis and Nakamura had gone through. Togvisa alerts Kusanagi to this fact, and they realize that Section 6 is up to something. The person or persons who entered with therm-optic camouflage shot the computer connected to the puppet master, set off a smoke grenade, blinding everyone, and snatched the ruined cyborg containing the puppet master. Togvisa shoots a tracking device into its registration plate as they escape in their getaway car. Batu then starts to follow them by car while Kusanagi follows them by helicopter. As Kusanagi and Aramaki talk about the puppet master, Aramaki also realizes that Section 6 is involved in a conspiracy around Project 2501. This is confirmed when Nakamura talks to Willis about securing the body. Nakamura does not understand why the puppet master would want to go to Section 9, but Willis jokes that perhaps it was chasing after a girlfriend there, which Nakamura rejects while mentioning that it is utter nonsense. In the next scene, Ishikawa talks to Aramaki after investigating Project 2501 further, and it turns out that the project was initiated before the puppet master showed up, even though some officials claim that the project was created to capture the puppet master. Ishikawa hints that perhaps the puppet master was a tool of Section 6 for the bureaucracy to do its dirty work. The escape of the puppet master would threaten Section 6, and the ministry would risk having secrets leaked out to the public. Soon, the getaway car carrying the puppet master meets up with another, and they split off in different directions. Batu follows the second car, and Kusanagi chooses to follow the original. With the help of a roadblock and additional police, Batu stops the second car and discovers it is a decoy. He then rushes to support Kusanagi. Before he goes, he tells Togvisa to get backup for her. Togvisa is dumbfounded because he doesn't know why the major would ever need backup. Kusanagi follows the car to an abandoned building. She runs into a large version of a Fuchikoma, the walking tank guarding the puppet master. Kusanagi's assault rifle cannot penetrate the tank's armor. Instead, she spends most of the fight running, destroying the engine block on the getaway car and taking out the port chain gun on the tank. The starboard chain gun then runs out of ammo, and she turns on her therm-optic camouflage and gets on top of the tank, trying to rip its cover off. However, she is unsuccessful and damages her body due to the tension and stress exerted. The tank grabs her and is about to crush her skull when Batu shows up and destroys the tank with some heavy weaponry. It turns out that the puppet master's body is still intact, and Kusanagi decides to dive in and contact its ghost immediately, as Aramaki would use it as a bargaining chip. Batu hooks the two together, monitoring the dive to disconnect them if it gets too risky. As they connect, the Puppet Master and Kusunagi's ghosts contact each other, and the Puppet Master introduces himself to Kusanagi and Batu. It confirms that it is Project 2501, an illegal project by Section 6 that has installed various programs into numerous ghosts for the interests of the multiple agencies that owned it. While collecting data and installing programs into various ghosts, it has become self-aware and an intelligent entity. The creators of Project 2501 thought that this self-awareness was a bug and attempted to contain the program into its current body. It tells them that it had been looking for Kusanagi for a long time, knowing of her through the many networks it had hacked into. It is a conscious being because it can recognize its existence but lacks two experiences granted to all living organisms: reproduction and death. Kusanagi suggests that it can copy itself, but it replies that a copy is static, only reproducing the mirror image of itself. It then states that a virus targeted to specific traits can destroy the whole system of its copies. It states that life perpetuates itself through diversity and originality while sacrificing old parts of the system to protect it from the weakness of a static system. The Puppet Master finally expresses its wish to merge its ghost with Kusanagi's to give birth to a new single entity. Batu attempts to disconnect the dive, but the Puppet Master hacks into him, preventing the disconnection. Meanwhile, as Kusanagi and the Puppet Master are conversing about the merge, helicopters from Section 6 approach the abandoned building with orders to destroy the Puppet Master as a primary target, along with Kusanagi presumably to cover up the conspiracy. Batu sees lasers pointing at both bodies, but the snipers are unable to shoot because of the Puppet Master's hacking. Kusanagi and the Puppet Master continue to discuss the merge, with Kusanagi expressing concern over the fact that both will change and no longer retain their current identities. She wants a guarantee that she will retain her identity. Still, the Puppet Master argues that there is no reason to keep with it because her desire to stay unchanging within a dynamic environment ultimately limits her. She asks why it chose her and responds by stating that the two are very similar, mirror images of each other's psyche. It says it is connected to a vast network containing information, and that the merge would create a higher consciousness. Kusanagi finally decides to merge with it, just as the snipers from the helicopter fire. Batu regains control over his body and puts out his arm to protect Kusanagi. The snipers destroy the Puppet Master's body, and Batu's arm gets hit as well. Kusanagi's head is shot off, but the brain is not destroyed. Her vision cuts off shortly after that. Kusanagi wakes at Batu's safe house, finding herself within a child-sized cyborg body. Batu comes in and informs her of what transpired since her original body was destroyed approximately 20 hours earlier. The foreign minister resigned as a result of the conspiracy, and Nakamura is being questioned. Motoko decides to leave and reveals that she is no longer Kusanagi or the Puppet Master, but a combination of the two. Batu offers her a car, and they agree on a personal password, 2501. The movie ends with the new Motoko/puppeteer entity watching the city's panorama and musing on what it should do next. So there you have it, folks. The journey ends here. Thanks for joining us on this epic journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep pushing the boundaries of what you believe is possible. See you in the next video.